Hey folks, just a quick update on the Vapor TRX, and that is she works 100%, and I would say is ready for CAX, California Extreme. So that's really exciting. And on top of everything, this is actually a very, very fun game. So big bonus, since we picked this up for free, there's nothing really lost. We haven't put a whole lot of money in there other than parts for the monitor, really. That's about it. But yeah, it's a very fun game, and I think we're probably going to end up keeping this one. But yeah, so since the last video, I got the monitor up and running, threw that back in the cabinet, and we basically put it all back together and had to do a few things. But for the most part, the game is 100% playable, or it was. And the couple of things we had to do is small stuff. The marquee light had burnt out, so we replaced that, the fluorescent tube. These start buttons, the light on this one was out. Turned out that, it's one of these micro switch slash sockets that holds the bulb in there. And the bulb had burnt out. And in fact, the entire micro switch slash bulb assembly had pulled out of the bezel. And so that was the first problem, because we're like, well, this start button doesn't work. That's why, because the switch was detached. And then the bulb had burnt out, so fixed the switch, put the bulb, new bulb in there, and also replaced this one. This one worked, but the incandescent bulb was really dim. And when we put these LEDs in here, and they're much brighter, and so you kind of wanted them, to match. So we did that. All the controls worked, except on the left side, the thumb button, as well as the trigger. This trigger here did not work. And at first I was like, well, it's probably a wiring thing, since this whole side isn't working as far as both those buttons go. But at first I was like, that's not really a big deal, because I figured that both triggers and both thumb buttons did the same thing. For instance, if you this is the fire button, and I figured, well, they probably share the same thing. Like, they're not individual, fire button, and acceleration's acceleration. But it turns out, if you go into the game options, they actually are individual. You have two cannons, one on the left side, one on the right side. So you do need this button to work. And so we pulled this thing apart, and the problem again was very obvious. There's 3 wires, switch wire for each, both the cannon button, the thumb button, and also the acceleration trigger. So there's 2 wires there and a ground. So there's 3 wires, and they're all fed through here. Well, that collection of wires was, I don't know if someone snipped it or if they were just pinched, but it was completely severed. So I went in, soldered those wires back, and we got complete functionality. So that was really it. It was just those 2 buttons and this button here. So all the stuff on the left side. But otherwise, everything else works, and she is 100% operational. Again, we're not giving this the full restoration treatment. We mostly just cleaned it up and got it ready, because CAX is next month. And so that's going to be here really, really quick. So we just wanted to get it up and running, the monitor looking good, and everything playable. But, when we bring this back after it's been at CAX, then maybe we'll do some more thorough restoration. And there are a few things, small things that are, easy stuff that we can do. I don't know if you can see this, but there's still some screws here that need the rust removed. It's kind of ugly. Maybe a coat of paint, depending on how they look after the rust is removed. Small stuff like that. There's also a few screws here. We did clean up a bunch of them, but we haven't gotten to all of them yet. So stuff like that. I can't really get around here, but the side art's kind of in rough shape, especially down below. There's a little bit of swelling, and so you can see down here. And the side art is available, at least as of right now. I've seen the vinyl on eBay for relatively inexpensive. I can't remember what it was, but it is available. So that might be something, depending on how rough this is. The swelling isn't too bad, especially on the front. There's not much up top. It mostly is at the bottom down here. And let's see here. Let me try to get around the back. You can see the T-molding has come loose down at the bottom here. So we'll get that back installed. Might throw a couple of finishing nails on the bottom just to hold it in, or a staple or something like that. But, you know, otherwise, it's not terrible. It's a very solid cabinet. Let me get around here. But yeah, it's a very, very fun game. I'm actually really liking it. Carrie's really liking it, so it's definitely going to be a keeper. What I like about this is, yeah, it's a racing game, and everyone likes a racing game for the most part. It's a good crowd pleaser, but I like that you can shoot. It's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of T-Mech in that you can destroy the other racers. So you do get weapon power-ups and things like that, and that adds a really fun element. If it didn't have that, I think the game would be a lot duller. So in that regard, it reminds me of T-Mech, which coincidentally is another Atari game that came out 4 years prior to this. This is 1998. T-Mech, I think, came out in 94. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little update. After CAX, if we decide to do any sort of restoration, I might document that as well. But it'd probably be something like this, where it's kind of a guerrilla-style video blog. But yeah, there it is. That's Atari Vapor TRX, and maybe I'll even do a gameplay video at some point. So anyhow, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video.